Alright, quick tip. If you are building a guitar, and I am, and kind of proud of it, it's looking pretty good. Before you put the neck on, if you're building a Stratocaster, the way these pick guards are dropping from the top, there's 11 screws holding that pick guard in. That's a lot to mess with if your electronics are not working and you have to pull the pick guard off. So I don't like to screw the whole pick guard in until I'm sure the electronics are wired properly and everything's working properly. So before I put the neck on and before I put all the screws in the pick guard, I checked the electronics, and what I discovered this morning when I did that is this pickup was producing zilch, nada, nothing. This was working fine. Position 2 was giving me these two. Position 3 was giving me this one and nothing else. So far so good. Then I moved over here to position 4, which is supposed to be these two, and only this one was working. This one was dead. And when I went to position 5, this one was completely dead. So distraught and confused because the soldering I did, all I did was solder a couple of wires to the back of this pot, and that was just ground, and then I soldered the main output to the center lug on the back of this pot. Never today did I touch the switch until I had issues. So I called Seymour Duncan to see, they have a technical support line, and the folks there were just incredibly cool to work with. So I got to talking with Dennis on the other end, and I got some tips from him on what to do to try to troubleshoot this, right? So again, the neck is not on at this point that I'm doing this, and at that point this pickup isn't working. So take everything off, and that's why I don't put the 11 screws on, because if things don't work right, then you got to take 11 screws off, and it's a real pain in the rump, and it's avoidable. So Dennis said, hey, why don't you take the hot lead for this pickup and the hot lead for this pickup and reverse them in the switch wiring. So it's just 2 wires to the tabs on the back of the switch, and I did that. As soon as I did that, this position was now this pickup, right? And this position was this pickup. And when I did that, this pickup worked, and this pickup went dead. So that conclusively eliminated the source being the pickups. It was the switch. And all I had to do was, in this position, there's a tab that this pickup is wired to with a little black wire. And I had to just bend that tab a little bit so that when you move the fader switch, that the tab actually comes in contact with the plate that is another feature of the switch. So once I bent that tab and it is now making contact, everything is hunky-dory. All the pickups are doing what they're supposed to. So that allowed me to then say, hey, let's put these pickup screws in, these pickguard screws in, and get that kind of settled. They are not fully screwed in. I left them kind of 3/4 of the way in, and I want the guitar to settle a little bit. And then I mounted the neck, and those are machine bolts, stainless steel, and they're going into threaded inserts into the back of the neck. So this body is black Limba, and I cannot wait to hear how this guitar sounds. So I'm going to let it settle for about a week, and then I'm going to tighten up all these screws. And I'm trying to let those screws expand in the wood. I don't want to force any of this beautiful Daphne blue to crack. So I did countersink all the holes very carefully, but still just getting those screws in about halfway or 3/4, it allows the wood to sort of stretch or acclimate to the screw's pressure. So in about a week I'll be able to cinch all those down and put the bridge on, put the nut on, and should be able to get the intonation and all that done in one day. So we're getting really close. My dream guitar, and I gotta say, I feel the features are more custom than if I had bought the Yngwie model. It's very similar to the Yngwie model, Yet there are some differences that I actually prefer. So the Wilkinson bridge being one of the main ones. I don't like the old style fender bridges. So that's it for today. Remember to test your electronics before you screw down the pick guard. And then, if it ain't working, you don't have to worry about removing 11 screws and being pissed off before you even look at the electronics, because that's not a good state of mind to be in when you're troubleshooting. All right, well, you have a great day. Guitar lesson next time. We're going to work on Trilogy Suite.